Hello, guys. How we doing? Doing a test right now. Can you all hear me? Music bot was bugging today. Hello, hello, and okay. Hello, hello. Right, hello, everyone. Hello. So even though the music bot didn't want to play its music, it still did the bug where I have to leave and re-enter. So that is absolutely amazing to know. Sorry about doing it so late, guys. And yesterday we didn't do our weekly outlook. Now today we don't have a price action review, by the way, for those who are questioning it right now. This is our weekly outlook. We're also going to revisit after the beautiful demand by Prem. We're also going to revisit our monthly outlook, just connect back into it. Overall, pretty bullish last few weeks, right? Since the start of September, we had if we bring it here, let's bring our monthly opening price here. We had a very nice open low into a continuation, right? We did discuss the possibilities of this, right? Because as we can see, Friday ended here. So we did our weekly outlook before Tuesday right here, and we had a bank holiday. And as we can see, we traded to these lows, formed some very nice SMT. So just to reconnect to the weekly outlook, to the monthly outlook, sorry, right? We did our retracement. We could have gone a lot further, right? On my chart, I was ready. I had these objectives. But what did we also discuss? That even though we're trading within this range, we're also trading within this big range, and we had our retracement here. So as long as these lows stay open or form SMT, right, which is the same in my book, then in that case, I am very happy with any potential outcome that may come from it. So just to reconnect with our statistical outlook, I see a continuation of bullish prices. Of course, going into next week, that might be a little different. We might be seeing our last week of September form our retracement. If you guys remembered, with September, statistically speaking, we were going to be looking at a classic month no matter what. What does that mean? We form a higher or low very early, week one specifically, right? We outlined that during the statistical outlook. I will link it somewhere in the comments or something so that in case you guys didn't watch it, you'll be able to see it for the people on YouTube. If not, it's available on YouTube for the people here in Discord. And we'll form the other extreme late in the month. And there we had about 50-50 of doing week 4 or week 5. So that's where it's going to be a little more complicated, but we'll talk more about that next week. For this week specifically, I'm expecting a continuation. Now, as I just explained, there is the possibility of, how do we say that? Of the high of the month forming this week, right? Because this is week 4 of the month, if I'm not mistaken, right? We did week 1, we did week 2, week 3, and now we're starting week 4. Yes. So in that case, since we are starting this week 4, I understand that there is the possibility of the high of the month. Now, with the specific news we have, and I didn't do the announcement, it's a little out of place this week, but the announcement with the news, with the trading days, will be coming tomorrow. For now, let me just bring the news on our chart so that you guys can see it. But basically, we are looking at having trading days almost every single day. If you guys remember, this might be a little far for most, and for the new guys, well, you will hear it now. But even though new home sales and revised consumer sentiment of the University of Michigan are now orange folder news, for me, I still treat them as red folder news. They provide a lot of volatility to the markets. If you're curious about hearing more, there is the economic news analysis on Rice Statistics, which gives us all that information. So with these specific news, I'm looking to trade Tuesday, high probability. Of course, was Powell speaking in the PM. If you guys remember, I like engaging in the AM and not having to touch the PM at all, because Powell sometimes may lead to a 30-minute consolidation, and then we see a move. Sometimes it takes an hour, sometimes it takes 2 hours, sometimes we don't see shit for the rest of the day. Right? It is very inconsistent. So I don't like trading during those times. So if I can catch something in the AM tomorrow morning, that would be great. And then I have Thursday and Friday with a lot of news, a lot of movement. But with these specific news events, what could we see? Well, we could see Tuesday form the high of the week and then have a bearish week. And that is our high of the month, and we don't revisit it. Now, if I'm going to be honest, we are extremely bullish here. So I am going to be bullish until proven otherwise, right? To get back once again to our statistical outlook, if here we just bring the 1 month so we can see our previous month high and low, right? These were our levels that we were looking for expansion throughout. As you can see here, second week of September, right? We closed above, and then this is last week, we traded back into this level and respected it, right? I think, did I add the specific extension logic in this one? Oh no, that's in the next update. Well, I just hinted at something, but something's coming as an update for a lot of indicators. You guys are going to love this if you're Rise Statistics users. But all that to say, we had a retest of our mitigation level, right? This is exactly what I'm looking for when I'm looking at like an opening price at a specific time. I'm looking for a price to use this level as sort of a support and resistance, right? Where we either respect it and bounce off of it, or we break through it, retest, and continue. And this is what we saw with previous month's high, of course, an important level in our trading. And of course, for ES, we've been bullish for quite some time now. I think previous month high was right here. So we showcased quite early that we were bullish. Overall, what I'm saying is I'm looking for continuation. Now, what levels am I going to be looking for? Well, the most recent range that it is currently forming, right? If I'm looking at this is the current range, but maybe we'll form a high on Tuesday, and then I'll look for some potential opportunities, of course, to the first discount in efficiency. Also, there is a volume imbalance here. If we look at it, this is a new day opening gap between Thursday and Friday. It's a little hard to see, but if we look at the closing value, which is 24,713.25, 0.75, sorry, it is different than, oh, is it different? Did I just imagine? Close is 713.75, and this is 717. Okay, so there is a precisely 4-point volume imbalance. Now, is that huge when we're trading at 24,700? Not at all, but still consider it as a potential first discount, with, of course, the main objective being this low for the fair value gap aspect of it. Overall, this is what I'm going to be looking for potential late week retracements. And early on in the week, I am simply going to be looking to long. Whenever we're trading at all-time highs, I much rather trade some recent liquidity than try and gamble based on higher time frame and direction, right? Because I never know where it's going to reverse. I don't want to be calling tops because that's going to lead to too small of a win rate. And I don't want to follow if there is an opportunity to short. So what do? I'll use recent liquidity. What is that? Intraday sessions, right? So session highs and lows from intraday. I'm going to look at the specific time of the news. And if at the time of the news we form a manipulation higher, there is SMT at this level, well, I'll consider taking shorts. I'm just going to have some very pessimistic objectives for shorts, right? I'm going to treat every short as if it was a retracement and trade every long as if it was an expansion, right? This is how I align to the higher time frame. So this is really what I'm going to be looking for, right? I understand there is a possibility that Tuesday forms a high and we see a bearish week, but I really don't think that will happen right up until next week. Definitely more confident in the possibility of next week forming a retracement, perhaps even starting this Friday. But early on in the week, I am definitely bullish, and hopefully we can see some form of Thursday retracement, Friday continuation. That would be very nice, so that next week we could see either a high made or respect this high and just start going lower just to close out the month, right? No need to go very far in that case. But those are my levels, of course, referring to previous day high and low, just as buy-side objectives, and then referring to intraday liquidity for very straightforward frameworks. Do you have any questions in relation to that? I know it's weird to do a weekly outlook out of the blue on a Monday. You know, we haven't done one in a while. We usually do midweek analysis whenever we don't have news like that, but it's been a big week, and you guys will have to bear with me for the next 4 weeks. I will have some days where I will be coming home very late. I am helping out a friend with his business currently, so some days I will finish quite later, like tonight. So we might have some last-minute changes to PA reviews. But as of that, for the rest of the week, we're going to see PA reviews every single day. Now, including this week, right, where for tomorrow it might be a late PA review, and Thursday might also be a late PA review. Just want to let you guys know. And as always, whenever we have 4 PA reviews on the week, sometimes I do cancel on Fridays, or we might do it just a little bit earlier. We'll see how that goes for sure. Might be a 5 p.m. PA review. I don't see any of you guys typing, so I'm guessing it was all clear. What do you mean when you say each short is a retracement? Oh, I love this. This is something I've been waiting to talk about for a while now. It's been a while since we discussed it, so I'm happy to. So let's look at a condition, and now we're going to imagine the market is bullish, all right? Let's not focus on the why. Let's just focus on the fact that, hey, the market is bullish on a higher time frame, right? We can clearly see, how do I use it? Previous candle high and low. We're clearly closing aggressively through the previous candles high and low. This tells us that the overall trend, and I'm always looking at the last 2 to 3 days and the last 2 to 3 weeks. We are very bullish in September. Okay, bullish higher time frame. Now, this means that every move lower is a retracement. Now, what does that mean, right? For newer traders or just traders that haven't heard this term, heard like that. Well, it means that I expect every single move to stop at the first discount in efficiency of every range. This is what I mean when I say every short is a retracement. Okay, then that means once it hits the first discount in efficiency, it does not need to go lower. Doesn't mean it won't go lower, but it means that from that point on, I can look to trade reversals to go back higher, expecting that price will continue to trend. If you guys want the actual statistics, we're looking at 68% trending, right? So when you're trading NASDAQ or the S&P, these are very trending assets that are quite more often bullish. 68% of the time, we're going to be bullish, which means that every move lower has a target, which you can predict, and you can trade that reversal. Trading reversals to go short is very hard on these sorts of assets. At least it is for me. But when I say I am bullish, which means that every long is an expansion breaks a range, right? So this would be an expansion move right here. And a retracement moves have the specific objective where it has to stop at. This is what I mean by retracements via expansions. And this is exactly, I don't use anything else. I don't have any hidden content from you guys. This is exactly how every single day, when I'm in the 15-minute, I frame moves. You might be wondering, maybe you saw my live trading videos on YouTube, or maybe you were in the chat and you were like seeing me call reversals and saying, I'm looking for a retracement to this level and then continuation. How do I do that? I'm on my 15-minute chart with this specific logic. On my higher time frame, I'm bullish. Today, I'm expecting bullish price action, which means that any move lower is a retracement, any move higher is an expansion. I want to, of course, prioritize moves higher, but I'm also open to trading retracements as long as I have my clear objectives. That makes sense. So there is a way to identify MXXM if we expect to stop at first discount. Yes, definitely. I hate talking about market maker models because I feel that they are useless to know about, right? It's fun to be able to recognize some, and see, I don't use it in my trading because the truth is you don't need to align yourself with a market maker model or try and understand every single phase and when each phase will happen and how. Why? Because you can just understand that you have a target and understand that if a breaker block setup, a unicorn setup forms, then I am aligned and I have a clear objective so I can take this trade. I don't like adding stuff on top that doesn't add any value. And in my opinion, that's what market maker does. Right? It gives you another lens to the markets that doesn't add any value in the way that I personally trade. So that's why I don't like that word very much, Prem. But yes, what you said did make a lot of sense. If we're going to be making a quick drawing, right, you'd be looking at something like this, and then you'd be like, okay, reaccumulation here, and then you'd see something like this, right? Let's say that was drawn a little bit more beautifully, right, with more artistic flair, but this is what you'd be looking at in that specific case. Hello, it is my pleasure. Any final questions before we call it a night here? 15 minutes is where I like to keep our weekly outlooks, right? Simple, efficient. We've been talking for the last 5 minutes, but I am happy to. Hello, glad to be back to trading. That's my PNL in verse. I kind of want to bring it back now that you said that. There we go. That's your PNL. Peaked with luck and then just dying. Sorry, I didn't mean to make fun of you, but I like that comment quite a bit because I've been through that. right? That when you start, for example, start an account and you're just making money, right? And then you just dwindle down and die. This is a hard one to go through. Now imagine that this curve right here is you're up 350 grand, and then this curve is you're down 50K. I've been through it. All right. I feel you. I definitely feel you. I'm in it too right now. It's exhausting. Yes, it's all about surviving. Keep cutting down risk. And when you're back in it and you feel confident, pop that risk back up. And then you can build on your wins. It's much easier to build on your wins than build on your losses, right? It's much easier to cut your losses, right? Because you're always losing 1R no matter what. And then you can go down on what that 1R is. When you're making a win and even a small trade, you're making 2-3R. That is great. So definitely. Since we are here, can we review today? No, we cannot. I did post a video about what I would have traded today specifically, but no, we will not comment. I will not break the tradition of not doing PA reviews, especially won't break that tradition on a No News Monday. Sorry, SJ, but that's how it is. I did make a post on Twitter just ranting about the beautiful long that I personally miss. That is the trade that I would have traded today. Hello. Where's the vid on YouTube? For the weekly outlook, you mean, or for the monthly outlook? What vid are you talking about? This vid will be posted on YouTube. If ever you're wondering, I don't know. Well, I saw you comment on YouTube, Streetcock, so you know I have a YouTube, but what vid are you referring to in this case? Hello. The long you just mentioned for today? No, I said I made a post about it. That's on my X, on my Twitter account. So if you want to see what I would have traded today, it's there, but I will not be making a PA review about today. No News Mondays. Fuck that, to be honest. I didn't trade at all today. I just opened my charts and saw a very nice long that I wish I would have taken, but I mean, that's what it is. I'm not, the reason why I don't trade days without news is not because there aren't any opportunities there. It's because I'd rather have a high win rate than make more money, right? I'm very happy with the return I am getting, right? Averaging 17R a month is great for me. I don't need more. I can just risk more if I want to make more money. I like where my win rate is at, so I want to keep it there. On that note, we're going to call it a night, guys. Was lovely talking with you. Thank you all for showing up in numbers, even with all that last minute change. I fucking love you all for that. We will see each other a lot more this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and perhaps Friday PA reviews. So I definitely hope to see you all there. Good luck training tomorrow. We'll talk some more once we're there. Thank you, Nico. Appreciate it. Thank you all, guys. Y'all have a great fucking night. Thank you.